4 game developers, 1 art kit, we each make a game. The rules, we have 48 hours spread out however we like. We can use any public domain sound effects and music or make our own. And we must use the art kit for our visuals, though we're free to manipulate it by cropping, tinting, using 2D or 3D, whatever. We can also use any supplemental visual things like particle effects, shaders, noise textures, trail renderers, and fonts. Today I'm joined by Ryan, Fleury, Game Endeavor, and Pigdev. The art kit we'll be using is the 16x16 dungeon tile set by 0x72. Let's start.
So this is the art that we are able to use for the game. The first thing you think of is sort of like a top-down 2D sort of thing, but we are not necessarily restricted to that. We could make something 3D, and that might be pretty cool. So I've been spending a little bit of time getting things sort of set up, and I have a basic demo sort of ready to go of sort of the graphics that I was sort of thinking. So I can sort of run around here as the player. No collisions yet, so I just kind of run through the walls. The map is generated from this ASCII art actually at compile time using Datadesk, which is a tool that I wrote myself. These are torches that don't have fire yet, and here's the player. And if I want to expand this room down a little bit, I can put periods there. And there we go. So now you can see it's just super long down here. You see that these walls are a little bit uneven. I thought that would add some nice little variance to the world. And I did that just by effectively creating a height map and generating heights for that height map with Perlin noise. Alright, so I've been working for a while. I have some basic shadow mapping. It's not quite where I would like it to be yet, but it's functional. And I also have some particles and some very basic lighting. And I also have some entities spawning in the world that the player can interact with. So you can see I can move around, be affected by the shadows coming from this wall here. And here we have a sword, and I can pick it up, and now you can see that it's sort of bumping around with me. If I actually use my mouse to click somewhere, you can see that I sort of attack near that area. Alright, so my 48 hours is up. I've finished what I could on the game. Didn't get to explore everything I would have liked. Gotten quite a bit done that I'm pretty happy with. So some of the quick features that I've added, just quality of life things. If I go close to sort of wall, you'll see that it kind of peeks over it. This is where I was going to have destructible walls sort of starting to be introduced to the player. Didn't work out. You know, couldn't get it done in time. If I jump over here, you'll see that I come to this chest, I can run into it, and here I get a sword. It says I can left click to attack. You can hear little swinging noises that are kind of fun. So I can come into here, and I can attack things like crates. For example, I can get this health potion. And here's one of the enemies, and you can see he's kind of running after me. It's a little goblin with a dagger. And he's sort of jumping, and I can sort of attack him too. And he can attack me. Here's a knight. There's honestly no difference between the knight and the goblin. There was originally supposed to be. Didn't turn out that way. You know, jam game. Again, what can you do? Up here, we'll come to the final boss of the demo, and it's already shooting some fire at me. So, yeah, that's the game.
Ryan's game was instantly impressive. It has a simple yet elegant UI when starting. I don't think I've ever bothered with a start menu for any of my jams. Just throw the player in there, they'll figure it out. But it's a nice touch. More than that, it has settings, fancy.
Alright, nice menu here. Whoa! Oh, this is cool. I love the 3D.
WASD, move and jump. Oh.
Impressive, and a creative use of the assets. I assume. Personally, I've never worked in 3D, but this looks very nice. I love the dreamlike aesthetic. I'm not sure if it was intentional, but it sold really well. The warped textures and the music were really nice to achieve this. I think the slow rocking camera also contributes to this as well.
I will jump this and jump. Jump again. Jump. Oh. Let's click jump. Oh, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this sword. Okay.
Dude, this looks so slick. Oh, I can hit the crates. Can I hit it into this guy? Right R to heal. Okay. Is that my health? Can I hit the crate into him? No. Dude, I love how everything gets knocked back when you hit. This is so cool.
The enemies have absolutely no telegraphing, however, which makes combat tricky. It took a while to get used to, and pretty much the tactic was to stand back at a distance and try nicking them with the tip of my blade.
From the enemies. What? What? This guy is OP.
Oh, you can lure them into the thing. Oh crap, damn it. Alright, so I figured out the trick to killing these guys. You just gotta lure them into the pit. Ha!
Oh. Is this a fireball that I just saw? Oh, this is a fireball. Let's kill this mage. Come on, mage.
The mage. He has no telegraph, the attack is swift and not consistently spaced. It's pretty much luck or brute force when fighting him. However, I'm a sneaky sneak, so I chose brute force. I quietly snuck my way through the dungeon, avoiding any and all damage, grabbing every potion I could find, and right before I reached the mage, I stuffed them all down my gullet and went charging in. After some highly tactful, skilled dodging maneuvers, I was eventually able to bring him down, and had a little celebration afterwards.
I wonder if I could use this guy. I wonder, can the fireballs hit these guys? Oh, they can. Oh, come on. Yeah, get him. Yeah. Okay, that's funny. Now I'm screwed. Oh, I got him.
No, this is... Oh, I think that I will stop by now.
There's no end condition though, which is confusing. I actually backtracked all the way to the beginning to see if I unlocked anything, like the chest place just out of reach.
Alright, looks like there's no victory state. Good game.
For my game, I decided to rotate the weapon around the character and launch it outwards as an attack. I wanted to give the player the ability to engage in full directional combat despite the limitations of the asset pack. Since the artist gave us weapons that were separate from the characters, I figured it was the perfect opportunity to put a little trigonometry and my love of twins to good use. Howdy, I am Game Endeavor, creator of practical to-the-point Godot tutorials on my YouTube channel. The first thing I do when starting a game jam is to sit down and study the theme, which meant that I needed to study the texture assets. There are no animations in this version of the assets, so I knew that I would need to use squash and stretch if I wanted to add a little polish, especially when telegraphing, maybe even throw in some rocking back and forth as the characters move around. The artist included some mock-up levels for how the assets were meant to be used, which was extremely useful for giving me ideas for the game. After studying these assets and bouncing ideas off of a friend for half an hour, I finally had my concept, and so I started the project. I wanted to create a game where the focus was on a fun combat system with several different enemies that the player could fight. One of my specialties is state machines, so I knew I could easily implement some AI and maybe even some neat player features. So the first thing I started developing was the player controller. Player movement is one of the most important qualities of a good game. Implementing basic character movement is pretty simple for top-down games. You just need a velocity variable that stores how fast the character would move in a given second, user input so you don't have to guess where the player would like to move, and a little interpolation. The method I use for handling input is to convert the Boolean variables of input action pressed into integers, and then subtract one direction from the opposite. For example, left from right. What you end up with is a value that is -1 if left is pressed, 1 if right is pressed, and 0 if neither or both are pressed. Do this for the vertical axis as well, toss them into a vector 2, and normalize it, and you've got the direction you should be moving. Then just apply the direction by the move speed to get your desired velocity. After I was satisfied with the player movement, I wanted to work on the weapon. I wanted it to be modular because I knew that at least one enemy would also have a weapon that they would attack me with, and potentially even a ranged enemy as well. I also had the idea of various weapons having different attacks, like throwing daggers that spin when they're thrown, or using the big orc guy with a hammer weapon, and he swings it around in an arc towards the player. So eventually I designed a weapon system where the weapon would handle its own attacking. The character just needs to call its attack method. The sword was going to be my main focus though, because I wasn't sure if I had enough time to implement the other ideas for my weapons, but I wanted to make sure that I implemented the sword properly. I used some simple trigonometry to place the sword in a radius around the character that would face towards the mouse. Well, the mouse for the player. For the enemy, this would need to face towards its target, which is the player, but it's the same concept. Alternatively, you could use a position 2D node, which holds the weapon at an offset, then rotate it towards your target. But I prefer this method because I'm a fancy pants, although I may switch over because it would be easier to animate when the enemies move. I spent a fair bit of time working on the ranged attack unfortunately. I hadn't planned out my weapon setup properly and had to waste a lot of time revising it so that it would work with a ranged weapon. Plus, there were more intricacies in ensuring that the fireball worked correctly, such as proper collision and not firing when initially in a wall. Then there's the pouncer enemy. I quite like this little fellow. I imagine him nibbling on your toes as you try to fight off the other baddies. He is pretty much all state machine at timing. He has a pounce method that times out how long it takes him to pounce to a given position, and since velocity is pixels moved per second, the code pretty much wrote itself. He has the same state logic as the grunt enemy, except instead of attacking with a weapon, he jumps at you.
Alright, here we are. Intense music building up. Torch atmosphere. Look at this guy. Ooh. Some nice animations. I can go up here now. Oh wow. Multiple screens. Dude, this is like a cool dungeon.
The level design seems to be very, very well designed actually. I like the disposal of the crates. And something very nice is the delay on the attack. We can see that the attack has a delay, probably the animation delay, but nothing here is feeling bad. This is very... Oh, this one surprised me here. Hey, little guy.
Oh, yikes. Can I go back at all? Okay, so I can't go back. I'm stuck in this map once I'm here. So I'm just gonna assume that I'm doing what I can. Ooh, little guy. Here we go. Ooh, yikes. Ooh, okay. I like the screen shake when you get hit. That's kind of a nice touch.
Okay, so I heal when I transfer levels. These hyper guys are annoying. I like head crabs. Can I snipe him? Yeah. Oh wait, he can get me from there too. What? Oh, they're hiding behind the crab. Oh, damn. That's cool.
Whoa. Okay. I seem to find a problem. Obviously this would be something that you might want to fix. But in order to play it as it was intended, let me come back out here. The combat feels pretty good. It feels good to kind of hit these guys, and how they kind of start bouncing when they get. I figure when they get low on health.
This big guy will kill me. I'm afraid of that, and I'm going to lure him to the corridor.
This is a lot of map to explore here. The main thing is the combat feels good. I think it'd be cool if the orcs dropped some stuff or some way for me to feel rewarded for slaying these orcs, or maybe the death of orcs is just the reward in itself. Okay, it looks like the bouncing effect is winding up for an attack. That's kind of nice. That's a nice visual cue there. In my game, I just settled on like, hey, you run into them, you get hit. So that's a nice touch.
And again, I wouldn't be able to make this dodging here without this anticipation that Game Endeavor add.
Oh yikes! Oh wow. Okay, I like the dying effect. I really like the dying effect. And what's also awesome is that I didn't go all the way back to the beginning. I kind of like the implicit checkpoints. Yeah, I feel like some more traversal options would be fun, like having the ability to dash or something like that might make combat feel a little bit more interesting.
There they are. Okay. I guess I gotta kill all these guys. Oh, it's a lot easier if you go in the center here.
Yeah! Whoa! There are some game over animation. Very well done. Hello there. I am Henrique Campos, also known as Pigdev. You can follow me on Twitter/Pigdev. So for my entry, I decided to make a score attack arena. So you fight enemies and you try to make the highest score you can. And I decided to do that because when I opened the art kit that Mrs. Isis provided to us, I was like, okay, this was clearly made for an RPG or hug-like game, and I can make that in less than 48 hours. So what can I do with that? This was the smallest prototype that I could think of that would allow me to test things quickly and to scale the mechanics later. So the first thing that I did was to open this asset kit and try to see what was available and what I can do with that to make some interesting mechanics. As such, I made a tile set here. So I just sliced what I needed to make the very basics of the arena. So I sliced the floor, the walls of course, and some crates just to have some decoration, some cosmetics on the arena. And when I saw these statues here, this decoration on the walls, I thought that this could be useful for a mechanic. This could replenish, let's say, the player health, the player stamina, and the player mana. After that, after setting up the tile set, I wanted to think about what of these sprites I can use for the player and what I will use for the enemies. I didn't like any of these sprites for the player, so I used these on the center here that is looking to the right as well, but looks like a zombie or something like that. But I really enjoyed this one. Is more neutral, it doesn't represent any class. After that I wanted to decide with what the player will attack the enemies, so we have plenty of weapons here, so I just picked one that will be easy to animate and something like that. So I just picked up these knives here. So if I open here the orc and the player, you can see that the basic structure of the scene is the same, with the twist that the AI have this brain node and the player has this action bus. I just have to copy this scene to make other enemies, so this would be very straightforward to design new enemies. If I open here the big orc scene, basically what it has is the same thing but with different data on that. I wanted to make sure that I will be able to spawn the enemies whenever I want. I wanted them to be randomly spawned, so I made this I made one spawn system with where I just needed to animate this spawn. You can see here that the spawn is cycling through the arena, and I have here a random timer that will just communicate randomly a time to spawn the enemies. And this was the latest thing that I did actually, was to think about how I will use these in order to make them a mechanic, a replenish mechanic. Basically what this will do is that it will trigger a cooldown, and every time this cooldown ticks, it will replenish a amount on the player health. So that's it. I hope you enjoy it.
Time to play my buddy Pigdev's game. You're a zombie rogue with amnesia. I'm guessing another zombie rogue ate his brains before turning him. I love his little dagger attack animation and how shifty he looks. I'm willing to bet his name was McStabberson. I'd ask him, but I heard a zombie ate his brains. The music is very catchy. Every time McStabberson went looking for enemies, he couldn't help but dance to the tune.
Okay. This music is something I can get behind. Ooh, okay. That's a nice attacking animation. Very nice. Ooh, there's a boss. Okay.
Can I break these crates? No. They're kind of cool letter pop-ups there. How do I heal? Oh, is it here? Oh, damn. Okay.
The attack range is extremely short, however, and enemies were both fast and attacked quick with no telegraphing at all. I'm almost certain there wasn't a single time I engaged an enemy and didn't take damage, which meant you miss out on feeling skilled at the game. Instead, you run in there knowing you're going to take damage, hope you don't die, then heal up afterwards. Rinse, wash, and repeat. Ideally, anytime your player takes damage, you want it to be their fault and something they could avoid if only they were better.
Oh, yikes. Let's go get some health. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. I lose.
So what happens if I go here? Full health? Does it not? Oh, it doesn't appear. Okay. What about now? If I appear, does it just randomly pop up? Oh, damn. Can you kill that guy? I like the you lose noise. Oh, there he is. Alright, I got him. Nice.
Look at how happy McStabberson looks when he discovers the fountain though. He's a happy little zombie. Then, never mind, there's a giant ogre staring you down. His chase distance is laughable though. I guess he's a lazy ogre. Personally, I would have made the chase distance much larger, if not infinite, and made him a fair bit faster. Give real consequence to using the fountains. Make the player dread using them, but necessary if they want to survive. I did, however, nope right out of there when his buddy came along, giving me the stink eye.
I wish I had a hammer as the player. Like, the hammers look really fun to kind of swing around. I like the concept, sort of the survival kind of battle arena kind of thing.
I would probably also pre-populate some enemies in the level where it starts. Initially there aren't any, and can sometimes take a moment before any spawn in. But then again, this is also the perfect opportunity to bust a few moves.
So I looked at the art asset and I was getting kind of a sword and sorcery vibe, so I decided to make an action-adventure game. I noticed these tiles over here, they look kind of like water, so I got the idea to make an island setting. I took the wall tiles and made some raised islands and then used those water tiles as a mask for a shader, which I combined with a noise texture for some distortion. I intended it to look like water foam, but it ended up looking more like underwater coral, which was also cool, so I just left it as it was. Next, I made the player character. I just selected random parts of different characters on the sprite sheet and combined them together, then made some basic animations by moving different parts around and toggling visibility of segments. I also threw down a simple polygon blob to get a slash effect, and then I just added the controls and logic for movement, rolling, and attacking. Next, I made a zombie character using similar techniques, but I also added an animated torch flame to its head, kind of giving a magical effect. Then I animated just the whole thing and added some AI to it so it pursues and attacks the player and can be killed, and also added some blood particle effects for it and the player when they get hit. Then I made a health UI by taking chunks of this red waterfall here and just toggling the size of it when you get hit. I got the idea to have this flame sprite pop out of a zombie when you kill it, but I wanted it to be animated, so I used a noise texture to distort it and get a flame effect, and then made a dissolve shader to have it fade out when it dies. Then I made an ogre mini boss with a chain weapon I just created from this bomb. For the chain, I just selected chunks out of the bomb. I used a fabric inverse kinematic formula to get it to act like a chain. It just kind of drags it around when it's not attacking, and then it will swing it around when it is attacking, and I just made so it will alternate between attacking and resting, and when it's attacking it pursues the player. And then finally I made a sorcerer boss. It has two spells, one where you summon a bunch of fire sprites and one where it shoots a demon face at you that just hurts you if it hits you. And then made so the whole sorcerer has like two phases. So the first half it's pretty easy, just cast a spell every few seconds. But then after you get it down to half health, it goes into a berserk stage and just starts casting like crazy. And then I just added a bunch of details, like when a boss dies, they drop a key you can use to open doors, and then doors close behind you when you go through them, so you get locked into boss areas. And then also health potions that'll heal you by one, a boss health display when you start fighting a boss, a victory zone that will end the game when you reach it, a restart message when you die, and then finally sound effects and music, which I pulled from opengameart.org and the YouTube audio library.
So we have WASD to move, arrow keys to attack, space to roll. Okay, that's kind of fun. So I've journeyed to the Isle of Exquisite Damnation, seeking the Chalice of Eternity. However, it is guarded by Madoc, the Mad Sorcerer, and his minions. Beware, traveler.
He also included a rolling mechanic, which is pretty fancy. Unfortunately, the instructions were front-loaded with a wall of text at the beginning, so I immediately forgot about it and never used it again. Mills was pretty clever when flipping the assets. I really liked how he used the helmet as pauldron. However, I do hope he at least scooped out the head before strapping them on.
Okay, so here we go. That was pretty satisfying. I like the particles. I like how there's some blood happening.
Oh, the flames are enemies as well? They have some faces. Oh, I remember this sprite. Oh, nice use. You built up a custom enemy.
I really like the water effect. This 2D water effect. I guess I can't see my mouse right now, but this 2D water effect looks pretty good. How kind of the water's kind of shimmering a little bit.
Okay, so let's see. A boss? Oh, the boss just killed all the guys. Okay, so my job is halfway done here.
The Ogre Brute was an extreme difficulty round, mostly due to the lack of telegraphing in its placement. Something about the situation caused me to charge in there out of reflex and then immediately get bludgeoned to death. Eventually, with enough willpower, I learned to run off to the corner first and then figured out the timing so that I could get out of there before taking any damage. I'm sure the rolling mechanic really helps a lot in this fight. I would probably introduce it here, or at least remind the player of it.
Oh, yikes. Okay, I really like how this game has like more interesting bosses than mine did.
Now's the time. Okay. So, can you go here? Yeah. Oh, there is a safe spot here. Alright. Let's see how this goes. Like mage. Let's point just this guy.
So what's up here? Oh my goodness. Okay. Alright. Okay. What's going on? Oh god. Okay. That's not good. Let me pick up some of these.
If there's one thing I can say about Miz though, it's that his animations sure are pretty, huh? Just take a look at this skeleton mage. Beautifully animated.
So without a actual delay, we can probably just touch him the quicker we can. No. Okay, so I just died again.
Ooh, he's angry. Phase 2 boss. Oh my goodness. Okay. Alright. Everything's fine.
Die! Man, die! Yeah, we got it. You got it. What comes next?
This is a fun fight due to the different attacks that he has. A lot easier than the ogre, so difficulty needs a bit of twigging, but certainly a memorable boss fight.
And it looks like I won. So that was pretty awesome. I have found the Chalice of Eternity. The adventure has come to a successful close.